So you're self-employed, you have a business car, what can you write off against your taxable income on your personal self-assessment tax return? Check out this video as I go through all the necessary details. Welcome back everyone, my name is Simon Meshevich from Optimize Accountants, and in today's video we're going to be talking about motor expenses for the self-employed. So make sure that you strap in, buckle that seatbelt, because I'm going to take you through Tax Town. And it really is going to be helpful. I'm going to share with you the screenshots of the data I'm using, so you can go ahead and get this data for yourself as well. So the first one is expenses if you're self-employed. So in that particular website, they talk about you can claim for vehicle insurance, repairs and servicing, fuel, parking, hire charges, vehicle license fees, breakdown cover, train, bus or airfares, hotel rooms, meals, and overnight business trips. And there's a lot of information there. The one thing it is always going to be important here is this thing of business exclusivity and necessary costs. So you may be going for a car, for example, but then you can only deduct the percentage that you use for your business. So let's say that you have a car, it's on your driveway, and you use it for personal use. So you're going on a nice trip somewhere with a family, or you're taking a business trip. How much percentage of that car can you offset against your self-assessment tax return on the self-employment pages? Simply put, it's the percentage of your business activity. So if you can say, well, in 24-hour period, I will be using my car for 8 hours per day, and the rest of it is for leisure. How many percentage points do you use for that allocation? I would say that you have to sleep at night. You know, it's not just pleasure, etc. So you need to take a balanced view of this. But I would say that if you are using it for business most of the time in the working day, then take that perspective. So if you are away at weekends, that's personal use. If you are working in the business in your car pretty much all the time, then pretty much I would say that 60, 70, 80% of your time and your expenses for that car could be offset against your self-assessment tax return. A great example there is business travel when you're going away for a few days. If you are, let's say, in one city, but you're going to another city for business, and part of that journey you are going to take your family as well for 3-4 nights, let's say, for example, then how do you break that down? Well, the easiest way to look at that is you have to be there for business. So your one child and spouse, they wouldn't be a business allowable expenditure, so only your cost would be. Furthermore, if you are going down for 4 days and you're only required to stay overnight for 1 night, then your hotel accommodation would be 1 night's worth would be allowed for business purposes, and the remaining 3 nights would not. So again, it's about you looking at your expenditure and then making some sort of arbitration calculation. The other website I think is worth looking at is Simplified Expenses if you're self-employed. If you want a nice, easy life, then there is a better solution for you than going through your income and your expenses and doing all sorts of allocations. This simplified expenses for self-employed is really, really useful. In this page, it talks about using a flat rate. So if you use your car, you know the mileage that you're going to be covering off from going from your office or your home to a customer or a supplier or anything like an exhibition, training courses, that kind of thing. Those travel arrangements would be allowed still. The first 10,000 miles would be at 45 pence per mile. Anything after that would be deemed at 25 pence per mile. So if you did 11,000 miles, it's 25p per mile, not 45p per mile. So if you've driven 11,000 business miles in the year, how do you calculate this? Well, the first 10,000 miles is at 45 pence, giving you £4,500 write-off. And then the remaining 1,000 miles will be 25 pence, giving you a total claim of 4,750 How do you know that HMRC are going to pass this off? You need to keep yourself a logbook. So in effect, you'll have some sort of diary management system, and you say, right, this is the journey I did from and to. This is the purpose of that journey. This is the number of miles, and then this is the business expense that I'm writing off for my business. So use a spreadsheet or use some sort of expense analysis within your online bookkeeping system, whichever is easiest for you, but make sure that you keep an audit log of everything you do. The next bit is capital allowances. Now this is for those that really want to get into the detail. So if you want the simplified approach, then maybe you can stop this video. If you think, well, actually I'm buying an electric car, I want to expense as much as possible against my business income as possible to save all that tax, then carry on. Because you can claim something called capital allowances. So let's imagine that you buy a car. Well, if it's a diesel car, petrol car, or electric car, the different rates for capital allowances. And let's get to the detail. But in this page, they talk about you can claim capital allowances on cars you buy and use in your business. So you do need to use it in your business. It can't be just a personal car and then get that lovely write-off against your tax return. You have to use it. This means you can deduct part of the value from your profits before you pay tax. Again, please note, deduct part. If you use your car, electric car, for a third of business and then 2/3 is personal use, then a third of that capital allowance claim can be put forward against your business. The 2/3 would be personal expenses and cannot touch your self-employment. Cars do not qualify for annual investments allowance. I just want to point that out because people will say, what about AIA? And can I not use AIA, annual investment allowance, for my car? The answer is no, you cannot. Working out your capital allowances. So you have a car. You now want to claim this capital allowances. How do you work it out? There is a page for that as well. Can you see how many pages there are on HMRC website just about cars for self-employed? It's ridiculous. So what we want to look at is this. There are 3 types of pools for capital allowances. There is the main pool rate of 18%, which I've put in there cars, because that's really relevant to this video and you being a self-employed person using a car. And then these other 2 rates, which we won't put in here, but because HMRC talk about the 3 types, I need to put them down. You will focus on the main pool, which is 18%, which means that you can offset 18% of your car costs against your taxable income. Please note again, you need to then take another further deduction from your capital allowance claim for the personal use of your car. Do make sure you get a spreadsheet to help you work this out, or make sure that your accountant is on hand to help you with this capital allowances claim. There is a further thing that you need to look at, which is the final thing I'm hoping for you, which is HS 252, Capital Allowances and Balance and Charges 2022. So there has been an update, so it's worth you reading this one. It does talk about this rate here, but it also talks about the 100% first year allowances as well. You can claim 100% of the cost of the specific asset in the tax year you buy them. These include new electric cars. Please note, not diesel, not petrol, just electric cars, and new cars with 0 carbon dioxide emissions, which pretty much is going to be electric cars, let's be fair. So if you have an electric car, you don't have to just take the 6% or the 18% capital allowances pool rate, which I discussed earlier. You can actually claim 100% of your allowances. Please do note again though, if you're using your car for personal and business use, then if we go by the previous example of using the car for a third business, 2/3 personal, then the capital allowance rate would be 33%, 0.3 reoccurring. Now, if you're using it for your car, that's writing off the car. Don't forget though, you've got things like petrol, parking, everything we discussed earlier. You can still offset those costs against your self-employment activity for the business element usage.